Imagine if one of the most powerful tools for your recovery from chronic pain wasn't a pill or a physical therapy technique, but was instead involving how you talk to yourself. Well, that is exactly what self-compassion practice brings to the healing process. And in this video, I'll explain a little more about what self-compassion is, why it's effective in helping to reduce pain and lead to a faster recovery, and I'll offer a few specific ideas on things that you can start doing immediately to incorporate self-compassion practice into your healing repertoire. Hi, I'm Rob Lieblein. I'm a certified pain recovery coach. And if you're like me, or maybe even like a lot of people I know, you tend to be harder on yourself than you are with friends, with family, with most other people, right? We tend to be a species that loves to beat ourselves up. Now, the problem with that, in terms of how it relates to chronic pain, is that when we are really self-critical, when we're saying to ourselves, why can't I get better? Why is it taking so long? What am I doing wrong? I'm never going to get better. All of that feeds into a condition of our nervous system that is constantly sending danger messages to the brain. And in turn, it's just feeding more of our pain and our symptoms. So that kind of negative self-talk is actually activating the sympathetic nervous system, which is the fight or flight or alarm part of our nervous system. Whereas when we can step back and engage in a practice of self-compassion, that starts to bring into line the parasympathetic nervous system, which is our rest and digest nervous system. And that can actually bring down stress levels and with it help to bring down pain levels. But it is a practice that needs to be consistently used in order to work. Now, self-compassion itself has a few specific components that make it effective. And one of the greatest experts on self-compassion and the science behind self-compassion is Dr. Kristin Neff, and she's a professor of educational psychology down at the University of Texas in Austin. And I'm going to put a link to her website in the notes to this video. But she identifies a few key components to self-compassion practice that can be really helpful in making it more a natural part of our way of being in the world. And the first thing that Dr. Neff talks about is being able to catch those negative thoughts and that negative self-talk when it happens. Because for a lot of people, it's usually just an automatic process. It's an autopilot thing. And we may not even always know that we're getting down on ourselves. So being able to catch ourselves in the act of putting ourselves down is an important first step. Now, once we do that, we can start to employ self-kindness instead of self-criticism, and bringing into mind that we're doing the best that we can, that it's all right, that we're just really acknowledging that things are hard for us, and that's okay, right? We can work on finding a way out of this. Now, once we start to do that, once we turn the tables a little bit away from self-criticism to a little more self-kindness and acceptance, then we can start to bring to mind also that we're not experiencing suffering in isolation. While our individual symptoms and circumstances may be unique to us as individuals, it really is part of the human condition to experience pain and suffering, whether that is physical, mental, emotional pain and suffering. It doesn't matter. That is something that's common to us as a species. And just reminding ourselves and recognizing that it is part of the human experience can help to take some of the sting out of the challenging times that we're going through. And then the other part to self-compassion and its effectiveness is that we start to look at things through a lens of mindfulness instead of over-identification. So it's not our pain and our suffering that defines us. We're seeing those as things that are there, they are true in the moment, and we can begin to recognize that they won't always be there, that things are impermanent. And that's where the element of mindfulness comes into practice in self-compassion. And a few ways to practice self-compassion, very simply, can be to take time, right? Learning to catch when you're experiencing those automatic negative thoughts. And then when you're in that sort of process or that sort of spiral, right, which is helping to generate the pain-fear cycle, give yourself a little bit of grace, and you can start reciting some self-compassion phrases to yourself. Things like, I'm doing the best I can. I understand that this is hard right now. I understand that this is temporary. And you can talk to yourself in a way that is an internal dialogue in your mind. You can say these things, imagining a friend or a loved one saying them to you. But really, each time you do that, even if it feels a little awkward at first, each time you do that, you're laying down new neural pathways that can help you change the way you think about your situation. And that is really at the core of what we're looking at in terms of being able to heal from neuroplastic pain and symptoms. Now, another thing that you can do is to do a little bit of journaling around self-compassion. You can actually start to write down phrases that you might say to a friend or a loved one who is going through something similar. And you'll probably find that those things are a lot different than what you tend to automatically say to yourself. And you can go back and continually revisit what you've written down. And again, this is a practice. It may feel awkward at first, but who cares? Write these things down, ignore any awkwardness that you might feel, and over time it will get less and less awkward, and hopefully you will start to feel a little better, a little faster. Another thing you can do to incorporate self-compassion into your daily routine is to designate times to take self-compassion breaks. And this is another thing that Kristen Neff on her website that I'll share with you has. She calls it a 5-minute self-compassion break. And make that a regular part of your healing repertoire. It's also important to note that self-compassion isn't just a mushy or passive thing for us. It's not a way of giving up the fight against our symptoms. Rather, it's a much more skillful way of approaching our healing, right? We've said before that if you think you can fight your symptoms off, they're just going to continually fight back harder. So self-compassion is really the smarter way to approach your healing. So I hope this video has been helpful for you. I hope you check out Kristen Neff's information on self-compassion. And if it has been helpful to you, please, as always, hit the like button. Please subscribe to this channel to keep getting more mind-body healing tips. And if you do need more personalized attention, you can always schedule a 30-minute free consultation with me. My information for scheduling that is in the notes for this video below. And I will see you in the next video. Until then, remember, chronic pain is not a life sentence.